Welcome back to our channel where we present updates and concealed tales about royal family. We are happy to offer the following news. Meghan Markle. Met after royal expert exposed her shocking scandal with her miserable father. A sudden and grave medical crisis concerning Thomas Markle Sr., the estranged father of Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, has once more brought the enduring rifts within the Markle family into sharp international attention. As reported by his son Thomas Markle Jr., 79-year-old Mr. Markle was hospitalized in the Philippines and underwent an emergency amputation of his lower left leg after doctors concluded that a blood clot had obstructed circulation to the limb, resulting in necrotic tissue. The development has elicited renewed discourse regarding the family's disjointed relationships, especially considering its coinciding with prominent public engagements by royal family members and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, highlighting stark contrast between private familial distress and formal ceremonial displays of unity. The announcement of Mr. Markle's urgent surgery resonated throughout media channels and social platforms, inciting discourse over both the acute medical details and the enduring, publicly recorded rift between father and daughter. Mr. Markle's medical incident has been characterized by acquaintances as serious. An obstructed artery resulted in tissue necrosis, gangrene, requiring the amputation of the affected foot and a segment of the lower leg during a 3-hour procedure. Individuals who interacted with him have underscored that the surgical option was framed as a matter of survival, that the post-operative phase entails heightened risk for complications like infection and sepsis, and that further interventions may be necessary due to the discovery of additional clots in the same limb. These clinical facts have heightened apprehensions regarding his overall prognosis and the likelihood of an extended recovery. Mr. Markle's hospitalization is intertwined with larger themes of media scrutiny, familial obligation, and the interpretation of private problems involving famous figures. In the previous week, Prince Harry made a jovial media appearance on an American late-night talk show, while the Duchess of Sussex has been associated via reports regarding a now-deleted social media post with promotional endeavors related to commercial ventures. In London, the Prince and Princess of Wales conducted a prominent Christmas carol service that emphasized themes of community compassion and family, a public event that many commentators have juxtaposed with the personal turmoil and public alienation occurring across the Atlantic. The contrast between the two tableaux, one depicting formal public service and the other illustrating intimate medical urgency, has intensified public focus on the connections important to the narrative. The medical emergency, as recounted by Mr. Markle's son, transpired swiftly. Medical personnel in the Philippines reportedly identified a blood clot that obstructed circulation to the left leg, resulting in the tissue below the obstruction becoming black, a layman's word commonly associated with severe ischemia and necrosis. In situations where necrosis has transpired and the threat of systemic infection is elevated, amputation may be the sole viable alternative to avert further health decline. The surgical surgery conducted on Mr. Markle reportedly lasted over 3 hours and entailed the amputation of the foot and a portion of the lower left leg. The family has stated that the operation was presented to the patient as a matter of life or death. In addition to the first amputation, associates of Mr. Markle indicated that physicians identified a secondary blood clot located higher in the left thigh, which they plan to rectify in a follow-up procedure. The existence of many clots complicates recovery by increasing the risk of additional arterial impairment or embolic events impacting other organs. Post-operative management for patients undergoing limb amputation due to ischemia generally entails vigilant monitoring for systemic infection, specifically sepsis, a potentially life-threatening extreme response to infection, meticulous wound care, pain management, rehabilitation, planning and evaluations for underlying conditions that increase the risk of thrombosis. Older individuals, especially those with a history of cardiovascular incidents, may experience a prolonged and less predictable healing process. This recent incident is not the inaugural occasion on which Mr. Markle's health has entered the public domain. In May 2018, shortly before Meghan's wedding to Prince Harry, Mr. Markle experienced a heart attack necessitating surgical surgery, which precluded his travel to the United Kingdom for the ceremony. The medical emergency transpired shortly after a widely publicized event involving staged photographs, and his heart attack precluded his attendance at the wedding. Consequently, the then Prince Charles assumed the responsibility of escorting Meghan partway down the aisle at St. George's Chapel. In May 2022, Mr. Markle suffered a severe stroke at his residence in Rosarito, Mexico, resulting in considerable speech impairment and necessitating prolonged rehabilitation. During each of these previous health crises, his family members, particularly his children, have served as spokespersons, offering updates and engaging with journalists. To comprehend the present circumstances and the resurgence of public interest, it is essential to examine the historical alienation between Meghan and her father, a division that has been chronicled in media reports for years. The breach became evident in the weeks preceding Meghan's wedding to Prince Harry, when it was disclosed that Mr. Markle had collaborated with a paparazzi photographer to orchestrate images depicting him being fitted for a suit and perusing a book about Great Britain, among other staged scenarios. The disclosure of his involvement in those arrangements fueled a narrative of treachery for Meghan, who has characterized the encounter as a pivotal juncture in a deteriorating relationship that has since been progressively public. In the 2021 televised conversation with Oprah Winfrey, which garnered worldwide notice, the Duchess discussed this particular incident and its repercussions. She stated that Palace Communications had been alerted about an impending story concerning the faked photographs and that she and Prince Harry had attempted to reach out to her father directly to comprehend the circumstances. Meghan stated that she inquired if he had participated, to which he responded in the negative. She has articulated the sensation of betrayal not merely through the act of creating photographs, but in connection with what she viewed as his rejection during a time when she was endeavoring to provide support and avert future harm. She articulated that the event resonates with her, especially today, as a parent, highlighting the enduring emotional repercussions of that early rupture. Subsequent to the photo incident and the ensuing heart attack that incapacitated Mr. Markle from attending the wedding, the public connection between father and daughter remained navigated through interviews, comments, and occasionally legal proceedings. Mr. Markle has participated in numerous TV interviews over the years, and together with Meghan's half-sister Samantha, has consistently spoken a wish for reconciliation and the chance to see his grandkids Archie and Lilibet. Nevertheless, these public gestures have frequently been followed by disparaging remarks toward Meghan and Prince Harry, which individuals affiliated with the Sussexes have identified as a continual obstacle to private reconciliation. In February 2019, a significant legal controversy arose when the publication Associated Newspapers disseminated lengthy sections of a private letter Meghan had composed to her father in August 2018. The 5-page letter, which addressed the tumultuous relationship and urged Mr. Markle to refrain from engaging with the media, was disseminated by the Mail on Sunday and Mail Online, inciting public outrage. The publishing caused Meghan to initiate a privacy action against Associated Newspapers, and in 2021, the High Court in London found in her favor. The court determined that the publishing was an infringement of private information and violated copyright. Lord Justice Warby, the presiding judge, noted that the Duchess had a legitimate expectation of confidentiality regarding the letter's contents. The decision was subsequently affirmed on appeal, highlighting the legal acknowledgement of Meghan's privacy rights. During the litigation, additional details surfaced that elucidated the family's communication breakdown. Mr. Markle disclosed the letter to the newspaper in a seemingly strategic attempt to refute what he regarded as an unjust depiction of him in a People magazine article that cited anonymous acquaintances supporting Meghan. The revelation underscored the degree to which private communications had been utilized as instruments in public discourse, exacerbating the mistrust among family members. The judicial ruling, by officially acknowledging the letter's protected private status, also elucidated the contradictions between the press's need to report on public personalities and the privacy rights of individuals, including those intimately associated with prominent individuals. The intricate family dynamics were further examined in the Netflix docuseries Harry and Meghan, broadcast in December 2022. The series provided the Duchess's viewpoint on events, including the week of the royal wedding, and showcased text conversations exchanged between Meghan and her father during that time. Viewers were presented with proof of Meghan's attempts to communicate with him and give assistance throughout his health challenges, followed by responses she regarded as stiff or insincere, which she believed were not authored directly by him. The docuseries presented a narrative in which Meghan perceived herself as the target of a concerted media campaign, which she implied occasionally involved her father's active participation, characterizing the estrangement not merely as the outcome of a singular event, but as part of a broader pattern of public discourse and media involvement that complicated private reconciliation. The public response to the latest health problem has been influenced by the examination of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's previous endeavors, and by wider discussions over the management of private family affairs by public individuals alongside legal and media narratives. Recently, Prince Harry featured in a pre-recorded comedic segment on CBS's The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. The program had a whimsical audition concept with Colbert comically mentoring the prince and including hilarious allusions to renowned actresses as a subtle acknowledgement to Meghan. The public response to the sketch was divided. Some viewers interpreted it as the prince's effort to connect with American pop culture and to portray a more casual image in the United States where he and his wife have established a segment of their post-royal public life. Others deemed the timing inappropriate, contending that humorous appearances were unsuitable given the seriousness of a father-in-law's critical health crisis. Simultaneously, scrutiny was directed on a social media post allegedly uploaded to an Instagram account linked to the Duchess of Sussex and later deleted. The message reportedly included a video of a small girl weeping after her mother informed her that she could not view a Meghan-led Netflix project as anticipated. The public dissemination of the tape elicited criticism from several critics who questioned the prudence of increasing a child's distress, reportedly for promotional purposes, and adversely juxtaposed the decision to share such video with the absence of any public announcement regarding Mr. Markle's condition. The episode contributed to a wider discourse regarding the ethics of celebrity-driven promotion, the morality of disseminating content featuring minors, and the public perception of engagement during a family member's crisis. The absence of a public statement from the Sussex's representatives regarding Mr. Markle's illness became a subject of interpretation. Members of the couple's communication staff generally refrain from commenting on private family issues, a standard practice among many public personalities who aim to distinguish between their professional and home lives. The gravity of the medical situation, coupled with the family's tumultuous past and previous media engagements, incited extensive conjecture regarding the occurrence of any private outreach and its potential disclosure. Commentary has varied widely. Some commentators proposed that private initiatives to assist Mr. Markle would remain intentionally undisclosed, while others contended that the enduring estrangement and the history of public remarks by his children rendered reconciliation improbable. The discussion revealed profound inquiries regarding the obligations of filial duty, the dynamics of forgiveness, and the manner in which families manage crises amidst significant, often invasive public observation. The role of Meghan's mother, Doria Ragland, has also been a subject of public discussion. Ms. Ragland was the sole attendee from Meghan's immediate family at the 2018 wedding and is reported to have a tight relationship with her daughter and son-in-law. She is often characterized as a stabilizing influence in Meghan's life. Certain sources indicate that she resides in proximity to the Sussexes in Montecito, California, although these tales generally exhibit caution in their sourcing. In the absence of any official or public statement from Ms. Ragland or Meghan after Mr. Markle's hospitalization, observers have speculated whether Ms. Ragland may seek to promote reconciliation or instead advise distance. In the absence of verifiable disclosures, such conjectures remain speculative, exemplifying how deficiencies in public information are frequently supplemented by commentary and inference. The scenario has reignited interest in Meghan's ties with her paternal half-siblings, her half-sister Samantha Markle, and her half-brother Thomas Markle Jr., both of whom have been enduring and public detractors of the Duchess. Samantha Markle has authored a book and initiated legal proceedings against Meghan, including a defamation complaint that was subsequently dropped. Both siblings have conducted multiple interviews in which they have disparaged Meghan and scrutinized elements of her public story. Their continual presence in media coverage has fostered a cacophony of opinions that hinders the possibility of private family reconciliation, since their frequent public commentary has, according to sources close to the Sussexes, consistently reignited old wounds rather than facilitating their closure. As global media reported on Mr. Markle's emerging concerns, a contrasting exhibition of family-centered public service occurred in London. On December 5th, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, presented her third annual Together at Christmas Carol service at Westminster Abbey, an event linked to the Royal Foundation that has become a staple of the royal holiday calendar since its establishment. The service was centered on the subject of love in all forms, deliberately highlighting the various manifestations of human connection within families, friendships, and community institutions. Officials issued a statement prior to the event characterizing the evening as a reminder that, in a world frequently perceived as fragmented and disconnected, love serves as the force that reunites us all, and suggested that the service would emphasize how investing in one another with compassion, presence, and joy can be transformative. In 2021, the Princess of Wales inaugurated the Carol service to recognize and express gratitude to individuals and organizations in the United Kingdom that had provided significant support to their communities during the COVID-19 pandemic. Since that time, the event has progressed, annually emphasizing various causes that correspond with the princess's articulated interests. In 2023, the program concentrated on early childhood development, a domain that the princess has prominently highlighted in her public endeavors. Early childhood development is acknowledged by charity workers, scholars, and policymakers as a crucial period during which expenditures in health education and family support can produce enduring advantages for individuals and nations. The selection of theme consequently emphasized a facet of the princess's public mission to highlight situations she considers to possess significant social implications. The Carol service presented a meticulous arrangement of royal prominence and philanthropic acknowledgement. Princess Catherine arrived at Westminster Abbey promptly attired in an elongated green coat adorned with fur and personally welcomed attendees, performers, and volunteers. Subsequently, her husband, Prince William, and their three children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, joined her, all of whom have consistently attended the event in previous years. The family's presence visually represented the evening's theme of familial connection and communal support. The program featured readings by distinguished actors, including Kate Winslet and Chiwetel Ejiofor. Celebrity involvement is frequently incorporated in such events to enhance public engagement and to emphasize the charity endeavors endorsed by the royal household. The service's guest list comprised approximately 1,600 attendees, encompassing a diverse group members of the extended royal family representatives from charities and community organizations, volunteers, and frontline workers nominated or selected in acknowledgement of their contributions. Actor Eugene Levy was also present, having recently performed a widely known interview with Prince William for a television series. Within the Abbey, participants and spectators received programs featuring a personal letter authored by the princess, in which she emphasized the importance of simple acts of kindness and the necessity of being there for one another. Royal pundits and other members of the public have perceived the princess's approach, highlighting empathy, compassion, and active charitable involvement, as a genuine reflection of her goals, rather than a simply ceremonial endeavor. The public perception of the occasion was enhanced by the Princess of Wales's recent appearance at a state visit reception, during which she donned the illustrious Queen Mary's Lover's Knot tiara. This piece of jewelry has enduring connections to the royal family, having been previously worn by queens and consorts, and is closely linked to Diana, Princess of Wales, the deceased mother of the princess's husband. The choice of a notable tiara for a prominent ceremony elicited discussions regarding continuity symbolism and Catherine's increasingly established position within the monarchy. Observers viewed the decision as emphasizing her progression toward a more prominent public role and ultimately her future position as queen consort. Her poise and confidence during these engagements have frequently been juxtaposed with the more complex and contentious public stance of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, who relinquished senior royal responsibilities several years ago and whose subsequent public statements have occasionally sparked controversy. The meticulously organized carol service at Westminster Abbey and the tumultuous, emotionally charged reports around Mr. Markle's health represent two distinct public narratives that emerge concurrently. On one side was a narrative of public service, familial unity, institutional continuity, exemplified by the Wales's festive project. Conversely, there existed a story of personal anguish, alienation, and the complex intersections of familial relationships in media, epitomized by the meticulous description of Mr. Markle's medical emergency and the protracted deterioration of communication that it both symbolically and literally illuminates. For several observers, the concurrent presence of these two narratives, one public and orchestrated for collective elevation, the other personal and distressing, illuminates the disparate trajectories pursued by the two sons of King Charles III and their separate families. The persistent conflicts that exist between public personas and private lives for those affiliated with monarchy and stardom are brought to light by the widespread attention that has been paid to Mr. Markle due to his hospitalization. A consistent depiction of stability and tradition is typically conveyed by the royal family, which is distinguished by its long-standing institutions, public ceremonies, and clearly defined tasks. The post-royal career of the Sussexes, on the other hand, which has been distinguished by migration, commercial ties, and a more transparent contact with media platforms, has attracted equal amounts of support and criticism. As a narrative concerning personal relationships and well-being, as a conflict related to press freedom and privacy legislation, and as a wider cultural discussion on how contemporary public figures manage the intersection of private responsibilities and public existence, the public discourse regarding the Markle family's estrangement functions on several dimensions. These dimensions combine to form the public discourse. A great amount of influence has been exerted on the perception of this family dispute by legal conflicts and the behavior of the media. The decision of the High Court to protect the Duchess of Cambridge's private correspondence not only established a precedent in the law that was relevant to her case, but it also served as an institutional reprimand of the editorial choices made by a newspaper. Furthermore, it brought to light the extent to which private communications can be exploited by a commercial media entity. As a result of the broadcast of that letter and the subsequent recognition by the court that it is private material, families are confronted with the difficulties that arise when personal correspondence is made into news. In a similar manner, the Sussexes have been able to offer their account of events through the use of platforms such as the Netflix documentary series and the Oprah interview. This has permitted them to incorporate personal testimony into the public debate and has encouraged comparative analysis of narratives that are in disagreement with one another. During this time, concerns concerning the morality of activity in the media are inexorably linked to the curiosity of the general public. Media organizations and experts stress the public's interest with storylines involving the monarchy and its affiliates. On the other hand, critics of the press highlight a tradition of intrusion and sensationalism that has caused serious harm to the public. A prime example of the translation of private sorrow into public spectacle, the amplification of familial tensions by media incentives, and the necessity for those linked with prominent organizations to take into consideration the potential ramifications of public debate is the Markle family drama. Damage to relationships, legal bills, reputational repercussions, and emotional suffering are all factors that have contributed to the context of this family's extended public strife. The costs are sometimes distributed in an unfair manner. All of these factors have contributed to the situation. There is a possibility that the current health crisis that Mr. Markle is experiencing will prompt renewed thought among the parties involved, yet the likelihood of reconciliation is impeded by the behaviors that have occurred in the past. In addition, the legal dispute regarding the release of Meghan's letter highlighted how private correspondence had been exploited or revealed, which made it more difficult to restore mutual trust. The record indicates that there have been recurring cycles in which public gestures have been followed by additional public declarations that reignited previous grievances. Because of the current circumstance, which is marked by a serious medical emergency on one side of the Atlantic and public ceremonial festivities on the other, it serves as a poignant reminder of the vulnerability and resilience of familial bonds. The current circumstances surrounding Mr. Markle's condition include the following: an immediate amputation to remove non-viable tissue as a result of arterial occlusion, apprehension regarding the possibility of clots in the proximal limb, and an increased risk of post-operative infection and other complications for a septuagenarian who has a history of cardiovascular incidents. The medical facts are harsh, and they include the physical problems that are connected with extensive surgical recovery. These problems include wound treatment, infection, surveillance, probably more vascular surgeries and rehabilitation that is suited to the reality of life after a limb has been lost. It is likely that this personal health difficulty will be interpreted from a variety of viewpoints, including legal, cultural, and symbolic perspectives, each of which will offer diverse interpretations of the narrative. This is because the social and media dynamics are occurring simultaneously. Some people will view it as a private family matter that should be dealt in a discreet manner, while others will view it as yet another chapter in a lengthy public narrative addressing authenticity, accountability, and the power of the media. There is still a lack of clarity on whether or not this calamity will serve as a catalyst for reconciliation, or whether it will merely add another unpleasant chapter to a relationship that is characterized by differences and competition. It is unequivocal that both the human toll and the societal ramifications of the situation will be meticulously examined as Mr. Markle initiates what is anticipated to be a difficult recovery, while the involved parties, both public and private, persist in maneuvering through a complex nexus of familial dynamics, celebrity, and institutional demands. Thank you for watching this video. Please let us know your thoughts and say goodbye for now.